Atlantic Bowl, Queens Golden Gales won it with an impressive 32-10 decision over St. Francis Xavier X-Men in Halifax. Quarterback Jim Rutka was sharp as he completed 14 of 24 passes for 284 yards. Running back Dave Marinucci gained 99 of them. 173 yards all told on the ground. Rutka led the Gales to TDs from Marinucci, McCartney, O'Doherty, and Rob Miller. It was a great afternoon for Queens. We'll be back with a College Bowl right after this.
Well, there are an enthusiastic group of Queens supporters in the stands at Varsity Stadium, and they will be noisy, I'm sure, throughout the course of the game. The University of British Columbia Thunderbirds preparing to kick off to the Queens Golden Gales. Gary Metz will perform that task. He did quite a job in handling the placement chores as well as the punting duties in the victory by UBC over Wilfrid Laurier a week ago. McCartney is back to receive. Is also standing in the goal area for Queens. The head referee today is John Logan. The line umpire is Neil Thompson. The back umpire, Roger Keeley. The head linesman is Russ Wilson, and the field judge is Gord Smith. The 14th contest for the Vanier Cup, emblematic of intercollegiate supremacy. Queens played in 1968. The University of British Columbia Thunderbirds have never been there. Number 16 is Best, and number 32 is McCartney awaiting for the kickoff, and this college game is underway. McCartney having difficulty with it, the ball bouncing around, finally picked up by Best. Best working his way out to the 25-yard line and not much farther. So it will be a first down situation. The ball is positioned just across the 25. That was a 50-yard kickoff and the 10-yard run back by Queens. Let's set Queens offensively for you. Their quarterback is Jim Rutka. The running backs are Marinucci and Tony Monastersky. Bob O'Doherty and Rob Miller are the wide receivers. Along with Dave Best, Paul Shugart is the tight end. Rutka with a fake. He's going to try and set up the screen. There it is. Marinucci is out to the 28-yard line. Marinucci picking up about 7 yards on the play. Crump came up from his defensive halfback spot to make the tackle.
Queens is starting out with a lot of people running all over the place to try and confuse that defense, setting up the screen real well, but that BC defense sure closed down quickly and held them to 7 yards.
It's 2nd and 3 for Queens. Again, Rutka, this time going deep, intended for Best. It's intercepted. It is picked off by Beecroft. And the first turnover of the ball game, with Beecroft providing UBC with excellent field position.
Once again, a lot of motion in that backfield. Receiver is wide open deep. Rutka doesn't quite get that ball there in time, and a super interception coming from behind to give UBC the first break in the ball game.
Mark Beecroft into the lineup defensively at a halfback spot in place of the injured Dave Singh, and Negrin on the first play from scrimmage gets to the line of scrimmage. Not much further. It was Jim Muller, the defensive end, with help from middle linebacker Ed Andrew, who came in to make the tackle. BC has Dan Smith as quarterback. Gord Penn and Negrin are the running backs. Bernie Gleer and Gary Metz, along with Chris Davies and Barry Muse, the receivers. Moore and Schultz are the tackles. McLean and Farrell, the guards. And the center is Bruce Benzel. Dave Penn, the ball carrier, Gordon Penn, I should say, and he only picks up a couple of yards. That Queens team has proven very tough to run against all season, and Balzan came up to support that defensive line. There was some doubt as to what the state of health of Gordon Penn would be for this championship game. He was injured last week against Wilfrid Laurier, and there was concern all week as to whether he would be ready for this contest. Al Chorney is ready. He was injured, you may recall, in last week's Western Bowl, but he is back there to handle the punting chores. Excellent return by Queens. Dandria fights his way all the way back into BC territory. As a matter of fact, he got back to that original line of scrimmage, a 35-yard return.
He did an excellent job once he got a hold of that ball. He didn't wait for anything. He immediately turns it upfield, gets a couple of good blocks, and it is simply his running ability, breaking 2 or 3 tackles before they finally bring him down.
So now it's Queens with a first down. The ball is at the 51 of UBC. Rutka forced to run out of there, and he's taken out of bounds, forced out by Hargreaves, and it will be a loss of about 3 on the play. Rutka, injured in the 3rd game of the season in a game against McGill. He did not come back until the playoff game against McGill, and then, of course, led the team to the conference title as well as the Atlantic Bowl win over St. Francis Xavier. It's actually a loss of 5. It will be 2nd and 15 for Queens. Rutka going over the middle, and it's incomplete, intended for Bob O'Doherty.
Donna Doherty was open. The quarterback on that side, Jack Rossi, had slipped and fallen, but the ball was floating just a little bit overthrown, and that would have been a big gain. The middle of this football field is a little slippery with all the rain that has occurred in the last couple of days here in Toronto. That middle of the field is going to have some effect on the footing of all players.
Tim Wardrop is back for this 3rd down punt. He had some problems early in the year, but towards the last half of the season, he was kicking much better, and he gets away a good kick that chases Ford all the way back to his own 3-yard line. Ford for UBC gets up to the 15, and that's where the Thunderbirds will scrimmage. Eric Ford, who did not play last year, a graduate of the Vancouver Melalomas junior program, 25 years of age, on that punt return team and giving BC a first down at the 15 with a 13-yard run back. The majority of the spectators, as we mentioned at the start, here in support of Queens. We understand about 25 busloads of Queens supporters came down from Kingston for this encounter. Smith gives to Negrin, and Negrin has about 3 yards. The left side of that defensive unit of Queens converged on him. Dick Bacher and Ross Francis with help from linebacker John Vernon.
Don, I'm real impressed with the size of these defensive linemen for Queens. There's some big boys in that front wall.
Second and 7. Smith getting good protection, going over the middle. Muse is open. He's got a first down at the 41. Barry Muse, who has not been a favorite target, but when they have gone to Muse, he has certainly responded.
And this is bootleg action, faking the motion one way, rolling the other. Both receivers were covered, and Smith, looking for a secondary receiver, finds Muse wide open over that middle.
Dandria came in to make the tackle. That's the first pass of the game for UBC. Smith going to the air again. It's incomplete. It was intended for the tight end, Chris Davies. Smith went down under the charge. Queens does not blitz that often. They'll show you a lot of different style defenses. And Dan Smith certainly proved capable of reading the different defenses and changing his attack in that game against Wilfrid Laurier, won by the University of British Columbia 25-16. It's 2nd and 10. The ball is at the 36. Smith quickly over the middle for Metz, very close to a first down, a pickup of about 8. Gallagher came in to make the tackle. Metz played a big role in that Western Bowl triumph. He was pressed into service as both a punter and a place kicker and made some timely receptions as well.
UBC is showing a lot of play action, a lot of confusion-type plays. In fact, both teams have, trying to mix up the defense. That time it was just a quick little play-action pass that didn't quite make the first down, so they're going to punt.
9:32, the time remaining in this opening quarter. It's a scoreless football game. Chorney with the left-handed kick. McCartney taking it on the run. McCartney trying to avoid trouble and runs into about 5 BC tacklers. 9:12 is the time remaining in this opening quarter. There is no score between Queens and UBC. We'll be back right after this. The Queens Golden Gales still looking for their initial first down of the ball game, scrimmaging 1st and 10 at their own 28. This is Tony Manisterski. Manisterski to the 35-yard line. A good gain, about 8, make it 7 yards. Mark Beecroft came up to assist in the tackle with help from Eric Ford. Tony Manisterski is the son of a former Montreal Alouette football player. Matter of fact, the BC Thunderbirds have Chris Davies, a tight end who is the son of Mike Davies, who played with both the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and Mike is here to take in this encounter today. On 2nd down, it's Marinucci, and Marinucci will be close to that first down. Marshall McLeod, the linebacker, was in on the stop, along with Kevin Chin from his defensive tackle spot. Number 73 heading back to that huddle is the tight end, Paul Shugard, and as the officials look on, it is a first down for the Queens Golden Gales. 8:16 remaining in a scoreless first quarter in this 1978 College Bowl here at Varsity Stadium. Miller comes wide to the right. Rutka, some very impressive passing statistics on the season, pitches to Manisterski, and he fights his way for about 3. He gets up to the 37-yard line. Jack Hiroshi came up from his defensive halfback spot to make the tackle.
Don, everybody talks about the pass-catching ability of Bob O'Doherty, the wide receiver, number 20 for Queens. That play, he made just a super block on the all-star middle linebacker, Kevin Konar, that opened up that hole. He was simply unable to turn the ball up the field, however.
Number 20 is O'Doherty. It is 2nd and 7, and Manisterski is out to the 45-yard line, stopped short of the first down, and Queens will be forced to kick it away on 3rd down. Manisterski 13 and Dave Marinucci 33, the running backs. And Marinucci's opposite number with UBC, Bernie Crump, was the man who came up to make the tackle. Well, we said at the start of the show that it would probably be a wide open, high-scoring game. It's still scoreless in this opening quarter. Wardrop is the man back to do the punting. He's a 4th-year student from Toronto. On his first punt, he sailed that ball 53 yards, putting BC deep in its own zone. Early in the year, he had trouble hitting the ball more than 30 yards. This kick is not as long. Ford again at the 30. He was thrown back to the 28. Actually, Ford is a replacement on that punt return unit for both Al Chorney and Dave Singh. And Bob, I think we should say hello to Dave Singh, who is back in Vancouver looking on. He was unable to make the trip east because of the injury suffered in that victory over Wilfrid Laurier.
Don, we should give a bit of a weather report, too. It's very cloudy here in Toronto today. There's a possibility of rain. They've had rain for the past couple of days. We're just hoping that it'll hold off to the end of this College Bowl. Then after that, who cares?
Well, I think there are a couple of professional teams, Ernie, that would probably care next week, a week from tomorrow, when they play the Grey Cup at C.I.A.U Stadium. But who knows, as you say, what can happen between now and then. It is 2nd and 9, a pickup of 1 for Gordon Penn. Metz comes wide to the left. Muse is split right. Dan Smith, the BC quarterback. Again, getting good protection, going deep, and he overthrew Chris Davies, the intended receiver. And once again, BC is forced into a punting situation. Davies on the year earned all-star recognition, latching on to 38 passes for 9 touchdowns.
Good job that time defensively as Davies and his inside receiver Gary Metz trying to run a combination pattern. I believe it was Hugh Gallagher that got in the middle of it and mixed it up, and the pass was simply overthrown.
Well, Chorney is dressed and playing in this game, but apparently he is not as healthy as the UBC coaching staff would like, because so far all he has done is handle the punting assignment. This one bounces to Dandria, and Dandria doesn't get any further than the 45-yard line. That was a 38-yard kick and about a 2-yard run back, and it's 1st and 10 for Queens. 5:43 the time left in the opening quarter. The Golden Gales are just shy of their own 45. Don Hargreaves, the coach of the Queens Golden Gales. He's in his 3rd year as head coach. He played his college football at Queens from 51 through 54. He was a guard, a center, and a linebacker.
That's when you had to play everything, Don.
Rutka gives to Tony Manisterski. Manisterski, a good gain out to the 52-yard line. Ernie?
Don, I was going to say that both these teams showed a slow start in the College Bowl and the Atlantic Bowl before they came on to win their games, particularly UBC. They were trailing for a while and looked as though Sir Wilfrid Laurier could hold them down, but they came on strong in the second half. And then Queens did much the same thing. They didn't look too sharp early, but then started to roll and move the ball quite well.
2nd and 3 for Queens. The pitch to Marinucci. Marinucci gets to the first down marker. At least it appears as though he has sufficient. Konar, the middle linebacker, came over. Konar has certainly gained a reputation as a hitter, and Marinucci is regarded as one of the outstanding ball players in his particular conference.
Konar is not only a hard hitter, but he's extremely quick. As Marinucci heads in there, Konar meets him at the pass, and it's going to be awful close. They're going to have to bring the sticks out to measure to see whether it is a first down. And I'm as much impressed with Konar's quickness as I am with his hitting ability. He gets into that hole from that middle linebacker spot so quickly.
Talking to the professional scouts, all of whom are here, they're also impressed with his hitting ability. Despite the fact that he is only 215 pounds, he has good speed, and for a man that size, he can really punish a ball carrier.
Don, if there's one advantage that either team might have, I would have to give a nod to Queens in that they're such an experienced ball team. They've got a lot of graduating ball players. There's going to be a fair turnover there next year, and this is the swan song of a lot of the ball players on the field.
Well, Doug Hargreaves obviously isn't much of a gambler, because on 3rd and less than a yard and at midfield, he is kicking it away. Larose on this run back out to the 25-yard line. I'm a little surprised. I thought that perhaps Hargreaves would gamble on 3rd down in that particular situation.
I did too, Don. I guess it shows the basic conservatism of the coaching staff early in this ball game. Neither team has really gone for the big play. It's more just feeling each other out and seeing what the other team is going to do to you, and then adapting to that as we go along in the ball game.
Muse is wide left on this first down situation at the 25. Penn trying to get wide, and he picks up just a couple of yards. Queens has been most effective against the running game this year. Ed Andrew and John Vernon, the linebackers, were both there. That front four for Queens, Backer, Francis, Ball, and Muller, very effective. The University of British Columbia Thunderbirds with Bruce Benzel the center, McLean and Farrow the guard, Schultz and Moore the tackles, in a 2nd down situation, 2nd and 8. Sideline pattern, and intended for Metz. It's incomplete.
Don, we saw a change in lineup there as Paul Langevin came in as a 4th linebacker, and Bob Mullen, number 21, the defensive back, goes off. This is one of the changes that they do utilize during the course of the game, sending in an extra linebacker and showing a different defensive front four and linebacking position.
Well, Smith has not been nearly as effective in this particular ball game as he was a week ago in leading UBC to victory over Wilfrid Laurier. McCartney on this punt return for Queens, and he's brought down at the 50-yard line by Brent Rousset. Rutka goes inside with Marinucci. Marinucci very close to a first down. Credit him with a gain of 9 before being tackled by Doug Biggerstaff.
Good cross blocking in that line by Randy Edgeworth and Pat Pushka, the center and the guard, respectively. They opened up that hole real wide for him, and he picked up 9 yards. Here we take a look at Marinucci. Nobody touches him until he gets at least 5 yards down the field, and you see Marinucci's size and strength breaking tackles.
And he's averaging 5 yards per carry as we come back with the live action. And again, it is Marinucci this time getting that first down, driving to the 44 of UBC, the deepest penetration that Queens has made so far in the ball game. Marinucci is a native of Sault Ste. Marie. He's a third-year art student at Queens.
Down in that play, I think the people might have been able to see just how slippery it is out there. Marinucci actually stopped dead and was still able to keep going and pick up yardage.
On 1st and 10, Rutka may have this one picked off. Larose grabs it on the sidelines and steps out of bounds. Jack Larose with the second UBC interception of the ball game. The first was grabbed by Mark Beecroft.
This time there's a little confusion. Quarterback goes back. It's a pretty good time to throw. That ball is put way out to the outside, nowhere near the intended receiver, Bob O'Doherty.
Well, 2 big turnovers have certainly helped the BC cause so far. Both of those interceptions being made in their own zone. It's now 1st and 10 at their 25. Negrin trying to get outside. He breaks one tackle, finds some room, and gets a first down. He's out to the 37, finally stopped by Hugh Gallagher. Negrin went into the game last week, a backup to the injured John Mackay. And there was even some concern as to whether Negrin would be available for this game, as in practice and preparation this week in Toronto, he was listed as something of a doubtful starter. Draw play with Penn, and Penn picks up about 5 yards. Ed Andrew, the middle linebacker, came in to make the tackle. 1:15 the time left in the opening quarter. It's still a scoreless ball game. And the Thunderbirds have been playing most of this first quarter in their own end of the field.
They're starting to get that running game going, Don, and they're starting to get a little bit of momentum, and this is where Dan Smith, the quarterback, is really sharp at changing his plays and varying them as they go down the field.
He's under pressure now, but he gets the pass away, and it's picked off. D'Andrea grabs it at the 45-yard line. It was intended for Bernie Glier. Not a good throw by Smith, and D'Andrea was able to step in front of it.
Don, you said the Queens wasn't much of a blitzing team, but when they do come, they come all out. That was a big play as the quarterback, Dan Smith, was under heavy pressure, threw that ball up there, and D'Andrea comes down with the interception.
1st and 10 now for Queens on that turnover at the 45-yard line. Miller comes out wide to the right. O'Doherty, the slot back, the ball carrier, he fights off one tackle and picks up about 7 yards. Craig Miller came in to make the stop. You don't see that particularly often, as most times O'Doherty is used as a wide receiver, but that time he was the ball carrier.
Gain of about 6 on the play. 2nd and 4 Queens from their own 52-yard line.
Here we take a look at this from ground level, and O'Doherty giving that leg and taking it away again, picks up the 6 yards.
2nd and 4, and again Rutka going to the air, this time looking downfield for best. It's picked up. It's Larose again. His second interception of the ball game, and Jack Larose, who was the leading interceptor for the Thunderbirds in the course of the regular season play, grabbing 5, has stepped in front of 2 so far this afternoon.
And you know, I think Queens actually has that reputation too, don't they?
I've been very impressed with Queens' running game up to this point, but again, I have to stress the fact that UBC has given up anywhere from 200 to 400 yards on defense.
On 1st down, Negrin picked up 5 yards. It's 2nd and 5 for UBC. One of the interesting statistics of that first quarter, I don't think there was a penalty flag, was there, Bob?
I don't think so, Don.
There's that screen pass. They tried to set up Penn. However, coming in to make the tackle was John Vernon, the linebacker. He actually stopped him for a loss of about 1 yard. So once again, UBC will be forced to kick it away. And as Penn heads to that UBC bench, it appears as though he is limping just slightly. He injured that knee in the Western College Bowl against Wilfrid Laurier, and he does not appear to be operating at 100% this afternoon.
Which surprises me that UBC has stayed with their running game as long as they have.
Al Chorney gets away a good kick. McCartney going back for it. McCartney finding some room. Look out, he could be gone. Brought down by Chorney at the 30-yard line. Good run back by McCartney. We were warned by Coach Doug Hargreaves that this fella is exciting. He could be a star of the future for Queens.
This is a young rookie, and he takes this ball. We talked about the field. You'll see 2 or 3 UBC guys just lying in the field, nobody around them. They slipped and fell down, and then the blocking formed, and it wasn't for punter Al Chorney right there, brought him down. Ball pops loose, but Queens recovers it anyway, and we finally got a scoring threat in this ball game.
Once again, let's watch that 42-yard return by McCartney.
He simply takes this ball and a couple of slips and whoops, big hole opens up, and it's just off to the races down the field. And the game's touchdown saving tackle that finishes it off.
Well, it was Bernie Crump who was injured on that play, and he now is up and heading back to the UBC bench, and apparently is okay and will be returning to action. So it's a first down for Queens, the deepest penetration either team has made so far in the game. They've got it, 1st and 10 at the 29 of UBC. Straight ahead with Marinucci. He was met head on by the middle linebacker, Kevin Konar. Konar came up very quickly to Phil with help from Mark Wall.
And Konar reads so quickly. He read the line blocking, saw that quick little drop play, and he was into that backfield barely before the running back got the ball.
Moves like that, ample reason why Kevin Konar was chosen All-Canadian. On 2nd down, the quarterback falls, managed to pitch it away, and Manastursky crossed the 25 to about the 23. Well, Bob, you have alluded a couple of times to just how slippery that field is in the midfield area, and Rutka, attempting to drop back on what appeared to be a pass attempt, slipped and fell.
Don, I think it was a planned drop play, but Jim Rutka did a heck of a job of getting the ball to Manastursky, because as he was going down, he simply flipped it back to him and let him run with it.
Well, Blaine Shore will attempt to put Queens on the scoreboard with a field goal attempt from 26 yards out. Mullen will hold, and it's good. So with 12:26 remaining in this 2nd quarter, it's Queens 3 and the University of British Columbia no score. Smith faking and then throwing to the sidelines. It's incomplete, waved off. It was intended for Davies, and Hugh Gallagher was over defending. Smith used that pump action. It looked as though he was going to go deep initially. Perhaps we can see what his strategy was on the replay.
Well, this is once again the little play action, and he was looking for Metz, the wide receiver, coming underneath. Wasn't there, and he had to pick out his secondary receiver in Chris Davies. Chris couldn't quite bring that ball in.
2nd and 10 from the 35. Muse comes wide to the right. Over the head of Muse. He was being covered by Gallagher once again. And it will be 3rd and 10. And this BC club, which moved the ball so effectively a week ago against Wilfrid Laurier, so far has been stymied by a very tough Queens defensive unit. Doug Hargreaves, the coach, is in his 3rd year, as we mentioned earlier. He took over from Garney Henley. He also served for a couple of years at Queens as an assistant to Frank Tyndall.
I think this is just to try and get the team settled down, get it kind of straightened out. let the coaching staff talk to the ball players a little bit, give them a little breath of fresh air out there, and I think they've actually carried the play a little bit along the ground, but it's been the big punt return that's made the difference so far in this ball game.
Well, of course, that long punt return by McCartney set up the field goal by Blaine Shore, and that's the reason Queens is leading 3-0. Here's Chorney with his third down kick. His kicking has been improving steadily as the game has gone along, but so have the punt returns of McCartney. He's finally stopped at the 52-yard line.
This is some rookie. McCartney just running out of tackler's arms. Take a look at it once again. Another great punt by Chorney. He simply turns this ball upfield, sidesteps one tackler, runs away from two more. Another good attempt at a tackle, and he simply runs away from that one. Super run back by McCartney.
A 47-yard kick and a 24-yard return. Back to the live action. They go straight ahead with the quick opener to Manisterski, and he's got about 8. Stopped by Gordon Campbell from his outside linebacking position. It will be 2nd and 2 for Queens, and Queens certainly has a lot of fan support here at Varsity Stadium. 5,000 tickets for this game went on sale at Queens earlier this week, and they were snapped up rather quickly, we're told. Again, it's Manisterski. He slipped. He may have been stopped short of that first down by linebacker Marshall McLeod. It would seem that he was stopped short, as Doug Hargreaves wastes very little time in sending in the kicking unit. Manisterski hasn't got a bad performance record this afternoon. 7 carries for 34 yards. Wardrop standing back on his own 47-yard line for this third down punt. He's a 4th-year physical education student out of Toronto. He gets away a good kick. Larose still on his feet, fighting his way out to the 26-yard line. Larose's had quite a ball game so far for UBC. He's been on that punt return unit, done a good job there, and he's also intercepted 2 passes.
And once again, Hirose takes this ball and just heads it straight up the field right now. He's also breaking tackles out there, and the outstanding performances so far this afternoon have been from punt return people.
9:58 the time remaining in this first half. 3-0 Queens leads UBC. First down, they go with Blair, who's caught right at the line of scrimmage. As a matter of fact, he may have been stopped for a loss of 1 by Jim Muller. A little twist in the offensive attack of UBC, but Queens was prepared for it. Muller did not earn all-star recognition this year, but many people, including Coach Hargreaves, feel that the big defensive end should have. Good protection. The pass complete to Metz, but he is stopped a yard short, it would appear, of the first down. They position the ball at the 35. Bruce Balson is the man who made the tackle.
And Metz, running from that wide receiver position, ran a simple little curl pattern. You see Penn going to the flat. Smith is actually directing him where to go out there, and because he came back for the ball the way a good receiver should, he ended up a yard short of the first down.
BC sending in the punting unit. .9:05 remaining in this first half. Queens ahead of UBC 3-0. So far, the game has not lived up to the advanced billing. Most people expected it to be a high-scoring affair. Well, that ball takes a good bounce as far as UBC is concerned. It goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line, and McCartney does not get an opportunity to run it back. We'll be back with the first down play for Queens right after this. Leading by a score of 3-0. Retka this time with excellent protection on from the sidelines to Miller. It's incomplete. He made the catch, but it stepped out of bounds. He was being covered over there by Craig Miller. Miller on Miller. Rob Miller, the intended receiver, number 17 for Queens.
Good play action that time by Rutka. Had the whole defensive line going to the play side. He bootlegged the ball around to the open side. Miller simply couldn't squeeze the ball before he stepped out of bounds.
Defense has been the name of the game so far. Each team has had just 2 first downs. Rutka being chased by Reset. Campbell comes up to help, and they take him out of bounds. A gain of about 3, maybe 4 yards. Biggerstaff was also in pursuit.
I think Queens is going to have trouble throwing the ball, especially throwing deep, because those defensive backs are just sitting back in their zone. They've got enough confidence in their linebackers and their defensive front four to put enough pressure on the quarterback as they did that play, and they've simply been sitting back in their deep zones waiting for him to put the ball up. So far it's paid off because they've intercepted 3 passes.
Wardrop, the Queens punter, standing at his own 23. This one looks as though, and it does, sail out of bounds at the 43-yard line. And with 7:42 remaining in this first half, UBC sends in its offensive unit once again. They actually rule that the ball went out of bounds at the 45. And Bob, I'm finding this very unusual. Not a penalty flag so far in this football game.
Shows the kind of discipline and coaching, I think, from both sides of the field.
Negron running into D'Andrea at the 50-yard line. An advance of 5. It will be 2nd and 5 UBC.
We see this from the ground level. Negron takes that ball, cuts it up inside. Good hit by D'Andrea, straightened him right up, but he did pick up 5 yards, and it's 2nd and 5.
Draw play with Penn. Penn has got the first down, only the 3rd first down of the ball game for UBC. They're at the 54 of Queens. Paul Langevin made the tackle.
How are the Gales? They can't seem to get going against them.
Well, the Gales, this is where the size, they've been outsized all year, but right here the Gales are taking it to them up front, doing a heck of a job, and the secondary so far has held them in the game.
We had the first penalty of the ball game, a roughing infraction against Queens after the pass completion. And the deepest penetration of the ball game, a 12-yard advance, a 15-yard penalty for a total gain of 27 yards. And Smith screening to Penn. He couldn't quite get the ball. He's a little upset with himself. He appeared to be turning and preparing to head downfield before he actually had possession.
It's true, Don. When you get into situations like that, you're so anxious to turn upfield and score your touchdown or make your big gain that sometimes you forget that you're going to take the football along with you.
It will be 2nd and 10 from the 28 of Queens. 6:06 is the time left in this first half. Smith in trouble. Ross Francis was the man charging in on him and forced him to go down after a pickup of just a yard.
Now, once again, Queens was coming with the blitz. John Vernon was also applying pressure in that offensive backfield. It caused Smith to have to hurry, and when he found he didn't have a receiver, he had to take it to the turf. There we see Vernon. But when there's nobody open, you do the best thing you can, and that's find a little hole in the ground.
From 36 yards out, Metz will try for 3. It's good. And once again, we've got a tie ball game. UBC 3 and the Queens Golden Gales 3.
Putting together the marketing and promotion of the game in Tampa and in Canada, and I think we're going to have a real good week down there. We've got social events planned. We've got a golf tournament planned. I hope we can get some of the athletes out, and maybe they can get to the beach too.
Now back to Dawn.
Thank you, Jenny. And on the pitch, it's Marinucci breaking a couple of tackles and getting the first down, fighting his way out to the 53-yard line. And Bob, in talking about that Can-Am Bowl, I think something like 8 members of the United States team went on to play in the NFL. 3 of them have moved up to the CFL, and 8 members of the Canadian team are playing professionally with CFL teams.
And if Mr. Marinucci keeps running this way, he might be another one. Good, strong running back. Did a good job carrying that football.
First down for Queens. It's Manisterski following the blocking of Marinucci this time, crossing midfield, stopped by Bernie Crump at the 53. Bernie Crump shaken up earlier in the ball game, back in there. Both Manisterski and Marinucci appeared to be very capable runners.
Don, it's actually a little unfortunate this field is in such slippery condition, because that time Manisterski really didn't have a chance to plant and make a cut. He pretty well had to run straight forward. He had good blocking out in front of him.
Rutka over the middle. It's complete to Shugart. And it's another first down for Queens. Kevin Konar and Bernie Crump were both there on the tackle for UBC.
And that's called using your height advantage. Big 6'3" Paul Shugart on the receiving end of this Rutka pass. He goes up high in the air. Good sure-handed catch for the first down.
First and 10 for Queens. They started from their own 35-yard line on this series. The pitch to Manisterski had a little trouble with his footing as he tried to cut back inside. His advance is restricted to a couple of yards. Mark Beecroft came up to make the tackle from his corner position. Coming into the ball game now is Chris Thompson, and leaving is Kevin Chin for UBC, as Frank Smith obviously feels this is a passing situation.
Here we see Manisterski trying to get around the corner, and that little slip caused him to slow up a little bit and allowed the tackle to stop him for a 2-yard gain.
An extra defensive back in there for UBC. They go for O'Doherty, incomplete, and it was Thompson who was covering, the leading pass receiver for Queens. And it will be third down for the Golden Gales. O'Doherty last year was drafted by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Subsequently, his rights were traded to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the new head coach of the Riders, Ron Lancaster, I'm sure will be taking a long, hard look at this youngster. He was an all-star in 1977. He played in the Can-Am Bowl last year. He'll also be a member of the Can-Am Bowl team this year. 2 minutes and 40 seconds, the time remaining in this second quarter. Back to punt is Wardrop, standing at center field. Ford takes it in the end zone. He runs it out. He gets just to the 2-yard line. A 42-yard punt and a 4-yard return. John Wilson was downfield to make the tackle. We've got a timeout with 2:20 remaining in this first half. It's a tie game. Queens 3, UBC 3. Gord Penn out to the 6-yard strike. I suppose there's going to be some conjecture among the spectators as to whether or not UBC should have conceded a single point on that last punt by Queens.
I think I would have been inclined to, Don, but I guess the coach is feeling that this ball game is such a tight one that every point is liable to make a difference in the final outcome.
It's 2nd and 6, UBC. Smith on the option. He's going to get that first down and more. Out to the 18-yard line. Well, I guess that's why we're up here, and Frank Smith is calling the shot for UBC, because they have moved that ball out. A fine move on the option by Dan Smith.
Something taken out of the pages of the Wilfrid Laurier Hawks from last week's game. Although it's been a part of UBC's offense all season, the option, that's the first time we've seen it today.
D'Andrea made the tackle on Smith. Smith's first carry of the ball game. Going deep down the sidelines for Muse. He can't catch up with it. He was in a foot race with Gallagher down those sidelines. Ted Tishka had also come over from his safety spot. It will be 2nd and 10 from the 18 with 1:29 remaining in this first half. Muse, number 32, only caught 13 passes this season, but he scored touchdowns on 6 of them. So he batted almost 500 as far as touchdowns in relationship to passes received are concerned.
Don, he averaged 23 yards in those 13 catches.
The screen to Penn. Penn's got some help out there, and he's still going. He fumbles the ball. Who's got it? Recovered by Queens. Tishka is the man who came up with it. Penn had just broken a tackle, had some open field in front of him after a gain of 17 when the ball squirted away on that screen pass.
Take a look at this from ground level. Screen is well set up by UBC. One good block as he initially caught the ball, and there was a lot of blue jerseys in front of him. Made a good move to get away. The ball simply squirted out of his hands. And eventually, Tishka comes up with it.
So with 1:18 remaining in the half, an opportunity here for Queens to break this 3-all deadlock. First down from the 36. Incomplete, intended for Doherty. And Rutka threw the ball well short of the intended receiver. Actually, Eric Ford was the man closest to the ball.
I think there was a little bit of a mix-up there. I think Rutka was expecting Doherty to curl up in that seam because he was wide open at that time, but he simply wasn't looking for the football.
The man who recovered that fumble, Ted Tishka. The move to safety this year from a halfback spot he had played in his previous years at Queens. Rutka is only 2 for 8 passing. He almost had that one picked off by Marshall McLeod, the linebacker. It was intended for Tony Manisterski coming out of the backfield. In addition to only completing 2, Rutka has had 3 of his passes picked off. 1:08 the time left. A field goal attempt upcoming by Blaine Shore. Shore has hit from 47 yards this year, so this is within his range as he will be attempting it from 43 yards up. His first field goal attempt was from 26 yards away. This one is going to fall short. It's Ford at his own 3-yard line. A penalty flag goes down as Ford gets out to the 21.
Don, I think the flag is for blocking below the waist.
We'll wait for John Logan to illustrate the infraction for us. It took place back at about the 10-yard line. They move the ball back to the 5. And that's what it is. Blocking below the waist, the charge against the UBC Thunderbirds with 58 seconds remaining. They're backed up to their own 5-yard line. Beecroft was the man charged with that infraction, blocking below the waist. And with the ball here is Negrin. Another penalty flag goes down. Negrin out to the 20-yard line. Ted Tishka was the man who made the tackle.
Don, this time I think it might be a holding call against UBC unless there was something with the tackle itself. Good block right there, but he had his arms wrapped around him. And I believe that's what's being called. Holding against UBC in the pulling guard. Well, at least this way, Don, they're retaining possession of the ball and will probably be able to run out the time clock.
However, in this instance, the clock does not start until the ball is actually snapped. 52 seconds remaining in this first half. Gord Penn trying to go wide. There's another penalty flag on the play. Well, after going for a quarter and a half without a flag, we have now had 4 in a row.
Done with a flag over there. I'd have to think it would be an offside call by the linesman at the far side, and I think it's probably against Queens this time, and so Penn's run will probably stand.
Conference involving Logan and Dan Smith, the UBC quarterback. They're determining the exact position of that ball on the run by Penn, and it is going to be a first down for UBC to the 21-yard line. 19-yard gain for Gordy Penn. 45 seconds remaining, and it looks very much as though the two teams are going to go to the dressing room not much further ahead than when they started play 30 minutes ago, with the score deadlocked at 3-all. Negrin getting some help as he tries to turn the corner to the 25. Good tackle by D'Andrea. He came up from his defensive half spot.
D'Andrea has really impressed me with his open field tackling so far today. He's a very sure-handed tackler, where a lot of these ball players, running backs and receivers and so on, have been running out of tackles. D'Andrea has pulled them down every time. Down, I believe, another timeout on the field.
Timeout called by Queens, and Doug Hargreaves on the headphones upstairs. You see some of the work being done at the bench as that field is muddy, and they're trying to remove some of the varsity stadium turf from the boots of the Queens players. It's been a good week with the individual awards presentations, the naming of the C.I.A.U. All-Star team, the All-Canadian 24, plus the selection of another dozen who will play in the Can-Am Bowl on the 6th of January in Tampa, Florida. Well, when you're a college student, I suppose almost anything goes when you head out to a football game, and I would hardly think those fellas came all the way from Saudi Arabia or wherever they wear
like the oil
outfits of that nature, but they're having a lot of fun. Gord Penn out to the 29-yard line with 28 seconds remaining. Rob Ball made the tackle with help from middle linebacker Ed Andrew. Frank Smith last year was one of the Can-Am Bowl assistant coaches. He's been head coach at UBC since 1974. 28 seconds the time remaining. Once again, we have a most interesting halftime show showing you all the activities of College Bowl week here in Toronto. Ernie Afaganis will be along to tell you all about it.
Don, I'm kind of impressed that it's such a quiet university crowd in the stands right now. There's hardly anybody up yelling and screaming. There are lots of banners all over the place extolling the virtues of both sides, or perhaps not quite the virtues in some cases, but it's rather a sedate crowd at the moment.
One of the few signs we're able to show you at this College Bowl game. There's another one. Our cameramen have to use discretion when they're picking out the signs. Good kick by Chorney. Here's a man who's been dangerous, McCartney. This time, good tackle downfield by Schultz. And with just 19 seconds remaining, Queens will have a first down at their own 48. McCartney with some very impressive punt returns earlier in this ball game.
I would think that Queens right now are going to try and get into a position where they might get at least a point out of this remaining 19 seconds. That's a close-knit group.
Marinucci inside to the 52 with 15 seconds left in the half. It's Queens 3, UBC 3. Queens trying to move quickly over that ball without benefit of a huddle. Rutka going to the sidelines to Miller. He stepped out of bounds at the midfield stripe, and he stopped short of a first down. He was forced out by Eric Ford. 9 seconds remaining. Kind of think right here that Coach Doug Hargreaves will leave his offensive unit in this third down situation. No, I guess wrong again.
He's been out thinking you all day, Don.
I thought that he would probably try to go for it and use up the clock at the same time.
Well, the ball carrier went out of bounds, Don, so the clock won't start until the snap of the ball, and I guess Coach Hargreaves simply figured that 9 seconds is a little long to try and run off.
Larose is back along with Ford for this third down kick. It's a good kick taken by Larose back at his own 5-yard line. The ball is fumbled. Who's recovered? I don't think it's going to make any difference because time has expired on the scoreboard clock, and that is the end of the first half. And as the teams head to the dressing room, we've got a 3-all tie. We'll be back with our halftime show right after this.
Columbia Thunderbirds 3 and Queen's University Golden Gales 3.
Jim Rutka, of course, is the quarterback with Queens, and it's been a very tough first half, Jimmy. I thought that maybe one club would bust loose a little bit, but everyone's hanging in there.
Well, I think, Ernie, this is what happens when two close, equal teams get together on a Saturday afternoon. I anticipated this, and I knew the fans would be in for a great ball game today.
Yeah, you got all the fans over there. They're really loud today, aren't they? But is BC doing anything defensively that you didn't expect when you're looking at the film?
Yes, I think defensively, their secondary is superb today. Witnessed that fact by they picked off 2 or 3 of my passes in my first quarter. I was a little bit nervous, I think, coming into this game, and so I'm settling down now, and I'm looking forward to a good second half.
The Butterflies are sort of going away.
Well, when you play in the national championship, it tends to be that way.
I think BC, too, is having a little trouble with your defense because you people seem to be doing a few things in there.
Our defense has played strong for us all year round. They've come up with a superb effort again today.
When you looked at the BC films and talked about BC, did you consider them possibly the toughest opponent all year in your...
I think they'd have to be. They didn't get to the College Bowl being a weak link in the West, so we knew we were up for the toughest game of our lives.
Of course, you're no pushovers either, are you?
Well, we try to be good.
Thanks very much for joining us, Jim. I know you have to get back to the dressing room. All right, and good luck.
Queens will be kicking off to the University of British Columbia to start this second half. Crump and Ford go deep for UBC. The kickoff chore for Queens will be performed by Blaine Shore. Shore, number 22, is a fourth-year phys ed student. He is from Ottawa. 3-all is the score as we prepare to start the second half. The kick is short, and it's picked up by Miller. Miller is stopped at the 30-yard line. He gets no further than that. And that's the point where BC will put it into play. There's also an injured BC ball player. Thompson was shaken up on that attempted run back. Statistically, in the first half, BC had an edge in first downs and an advantage in passing, although the ground game belonged just slightly to Queens, picking up 3 more yards than UBC in that particular department. This is Negrin. A yard, maybe 2 at most. The left side of that defensive unit, led by Dick Backer and John Vernon, were there. Negrin, a replacement a week ago in the Western Ball for John Mackay. Mackay injured and unable to finish that game, and the injury serious enough to prevent him from playing in this championship game as well. Second and 9. Little swing pass to Penn, and he could not hang on. That's the second time in the game that they've attempted to dump that ball out there to Penn, and he's been unable to squeeze it.
Certainly unfortunate for UBC because Penn had all kinds of room down that sideline. The play was well set up by Smith and his offensive unit. Penn was wide open in the flat and simply couldn't squeeze it.
15, Thompson, receiving some treatment at that UBC bench. Ernie?
Don, Chris says he got a helmet in the thigh, so they've got some ice on it. Is it going to knock you out of the game, Chris?
No, I'll be back. Just a little stiff right now.
You guys are all tough. You never seem to want to get out of a ball game.
No way. Not this one.
Not the big one. Okay, good luck to you, Chris.
A 41-yard punt and a 13-yard run back. It'll be a first down. The ball is at the 50. For most of this ball game, Queens has had pretty good field position. UBC, in their only drive, managed to put 3 points on the board, but they have played most of the game in their own half of the field. This is the slot back, O'Doherty, and he stumbles across midfield to the 54 of UBC. Jack Hargreaves was the man who finally pushed him down with help from Mark Wald.
Queens comes out of their, what they call their balance set, with O'Doherty lined up as a wingback, and that's twice now this game that he's carried that reverse type action running play for them.
This time O'Doherty lines up to the left side, and they go left with Manisterski. Manisterski is stopped short of a first down. Hargreaves was again there, along with Bernie Crump.
That time O'Doherty got a good block on Marshall McLeod, the corner linebacker for UBC, but McLeod was able to slip away from it. And take a look at this from low angle. McLeod there, you see scrambling on the ground, was able to force the ball carrier a little wider than he wanted to go. And as a result, his friends met him short of the first down.
Wardrop stands at his own 45. Ford fields it at the 20. He fumbles the football. It's loose. It's recovered by Queen. Best comes up with it. Dave Best pouncing on that loose ball after it squirts away from Ford.
Ford puts a couple of pretty good moves on. Gets away from Marinucci, but a good tackle knocks that ball loose. And there's Best for the recovery. Big turnover deep in UBC's territory at the 13-yard line.
This is the deepest that any team has been able to move the ball so far. 1st and 10 for Queens. Rucka on the reverse to O'Doherty. O'Doherty trying to follow the blocking of Shugart. And he is stopped inside the 10 at the 9-yard line by Doug Biggerstaff.
And safety man Eric Ford certainly made a big play on that one as well, Don. He knifed in from the middle, knocked the feet out from underneath O'Doherty, and really stopped up a play that looked like it could have carried all the way into that end zone.
It will be 2nd and 6. Goes into the ball game in place of Best. Up the middle with Manisterski. He's got the first down. At least it would appear that way, to about the 3. Defensive halfback Craig Miller with help from middle linebacker Kevin Konar made the stop, and now coming in is McCartney with Manisterski going to the bench.
Very interesting play call there, Don. The draw type action, handing back up the middle, and that's where the coach has said that the strength of their running game is right up the middle. They used a little bit of a draw action on that one to pick up the first down, as you can hear the Queens fans reacting to the signal by the official.
First and goal for Queens. The players are standing at the bench. An opportunity to break this 3-3 deadlock with 11:03 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Rob Miller goes wide right. The second man through is upset. That's McCartney, Mark Wald, and Doug Biggerstaff.
Good penetration by Doug Biggerstaff. He knifed into that backfield. Just as McCartney got that ball, he upset him.
So it will be 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line. Queens looking for the first touchdown of the afternoon. Miller goes wide left. The action is to the left. Rutka throwing into the end zone. It's knocked away by Hargreaves. It was intended for Miller. Good defensive effort back there. Hargreaves has already intercepted 2, and he knocked away a touchdown throw.
And it's a little disconcerting for receivers and defensive backs alike, having to suddenly leave the grass and run onto this artificial takeoff area for high jumping and so on that's in the end zone here. The receivers seem to get a little confused, and Hargreaves came up with a big play.
Well, it's been a big defensive stand for the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds. Shore is now going to try for 3 points. The kick coming from the 11-yard stripe. And it is good. So with 9:47 remaining in this third quarter, it's 6-3. UBC making its first ever appearance in a Canadian College Bowl. Dan Smith gives to Negron, the sweep action to the right, and that Queens club has been tough defensively all season. They've been able to contain the run rather effectively. And Ed Andrew, the middle linebacker, with Hugh Gallagher, the cornerback, came over to stop Negron after an advance of about 1.5 yards.
Don, I think the big plus on that particular play has to go to John Verdon, the 5'11", 185 linebacker, who held that play up until his other teammates could get there to make the play.
Smith is in trouble. He's caught by Vernon and dropped back at the 24. Well, they battled on even terms in the first half, but in this second half, Queens has certainly come out as a fired-up unit.
John Vernon comes from his left linebacker position. Nobody there to pick him up. Gord Penn couldn't get there fast enough. And it was one of those you pick him up quarterback, and it resulted in a 10-yard loss, and it's 3rd down and 20.
The first quarterback sack of the game for Queens, but one that could play a key role in the outcome of this ball game. Excellent kick by Jorney. McCartney again. The run back attempt not getting any further this time than the 51-yard line. A little extracurricular activity taking place, but nothing further develops. And once again, Queens has good field position to start this series of plays.
So important to have that field position, and this young man has been giving it to them all game long. Just determined running, and he's so quick. Once he gets that ball, he pops into the first hole he sees and then just fights his way, as we see here, down that field.
He wasn't quite sure who had hold of him there, and it was one of his own teammates, DeAndrea, who was simply trying to keep him on his feet. This is Manastursky. There's also a penalty flag on the play as Manastursky picks up 5 yards. Marshall McLeod came in to make the tackle.
Good cross-buck action on that play. The hole opened up, but one of the reasons was that one of the interior linemen was going to be called for holding on the block.
That defensive unit of UBC is led by Reset and Biggerstaff as the ends. Wald and Chin are the tackles. McLeod, Konar, and Campbell, the linebackers. The holding penalty moves the ball 10 yards back. Beecroft, Miller, Ford, Crump, and Hirose, the secondary. First and 20 now for Queens. They're backed up to their own 41. Draw play with Manastursky. He broke the first tackle and managed to pick up about 4 yards. Larry Harvard was the man who finally came in to make the tackle. Ernie?
Do you think that the Argos are going to get back into things, or what's going to happen?
Oh, yes, I think that probably going to be a change of ownership. Maybe that's going to make a difference. Of course, my friend Harold Ballard is fighting to get in the playoffs for next year. Harold's a great guy.
He certainly is. Right now, it's college football. Thanks, Ripper, and we'll get back to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ernie.
Okay, Ernie, and it's always good to see Whipper Billy Watson. And Hirose on that return got no further than the 27-yard line. He was caught there by Jim Muller. Hirose certainly has been one of the defensive stars for UBC. And at the conclusion of the game, the most valuable player will be named and presented with the Teddy Morris Trophy. Smith over the middle, good catch by Metz. He had to go high to haul it in at the 37 in front of Ed Andrew.
Smith seems to be having trouble picking out his receivers today. I don't know whether it's because of the height advantage that defensive front four has from Queens, but he really has to be searching around, and that time fired that ball very high, and Metz came up with an excellent catch.
Ball Langevin goes in. Rob Ball comes out as Queens presents just a little different look defensively. They try to counter with Gord Penn, but Andrew was there from his middle linebacking spot. So was Langevin.
And as this game wears on, UBC's defense has been doing the job. I believe the Queens Golden Gales have only completed 2 or 3 passes so far in this game. They've closed down the running game reasonably effectively, but they're going to start getting pretty tired if they have to be on the field all the time.
Dan Smith, who threw the ball so effectively against Wilfrid Laurier a week ago, has had difficulties today. Another good kick by Chorney. It's taken by McCartney back at the 35. He's done a great job for Queens on those punt returns, getting this one out to the 47-yard line. Stopped by Chris Thompson.
Take a look at young Mr. McCartney once again, and I mentioned earlier that he is so quick once he gets that ball of finding a little crease in a hole right away, and it makes such a big difference. Instead of sitting back looking for it to happen, he picks up 10 yards before anybody gets close to him.
He's been averaging 18 yards per return. His biggest run back was a 42-yarder in the first half. Rob Miller is wide to the left. 1st and 10 for Queens. They lead at 6-3. Manisterski following the blocking of Marinucci, and he picks up 8 yards before he was stopped by Wall.
Good sweep action that time. They got their pulling guards, Wilson and Edgeworth, out in front. Rambled 8 yards before he was brought down.
Tomorrow afternoon, of course, it's the Eastern Final involving Ottawa and Montreal from Lansdowne Park in Ottawa, and a week tomorrow, the Grey Cup game at CNE Stadium, and you'll see all that activity on the CBC television network. Marinucci diving off tackle, and he'll be close to the first down. Brent Reset and Mark Wald stood their ground at that defensive end and defensive tackle spot, but it would seem that he was able to pick up the yardage. Well, they're stopped just short. The measurement reveals that they're about 4 or 5 inches away, and Hargreaves is taking no chances. He sends in that punting unit again, and again I express a little surprise at that strategy on the part of Queens, Bob.
Well, this time I don't think I am surprised. This is a mark of a good coach is being consistent. He's done it all game long, and so far he's ahead on the scoreboard, and so you got to go with what your game plan is, and he's maintaining just that.
Well, his defensive unit has certainly kept UBC bottled up in its own end for most of the game. Good kick by Wardrop, taken by Ford back at the 10-yard line. This Queens team has also had good punt coverage. 3:58 is the time left in this third quarter.
And what exactly does CAN-SAVE do for the children of Canada?
In Canada and throughout the world.
Okay, Jenny, and the all-Canadian players made a visit to the Crippled Children's Hospital yesterday, and they were a tremendous hit with the youngsters there. I'm sure many of them are looking in this afternoon, and we say hello to them. Dan Smith throwing to Chris Davies, a first down at the 40-yard line. That's his first reception of the day. Ted Tishka, the safety, made the stop. Davies, the leading pass receiver on the season, and you see why he's such a valuable member of that UBC unit.
UBC coming along with a lot of play action again to try and confuse that defense, and as a result, Chris Davis, the tight end, or Davies, is wide open over that middle for the big first down.
A 22-yard gain on that pass. Smith will again go to the air over the middle again, complete this time to Gleer. And It's at the 48. And Andrew made the tackle. Well, at halftime, some of the experts up here in the press box were suggesting that to be effective, Smith would have to start throwing. And he has come up with 2 big strikes here in the third quarter.
Here we see Smith with all kinds of time to throw. Gleer once again wide open in that middle area, and this is what Smith's picking on.
Back to the live action. Smith screening this time to Penn. Penn got away from the first attempted tackle by outside linebacker John Vernon and went for an additional 2 or 3 yards before Dick Bacher came over.
You see the little screen pass. This is something they've been trying all afternoon. It's been successful when Penn's been able to catch it. Shows good determined running to pick up 7 yards.
Second down for the Thunderbirds. And Smith goes over the middle. It was intended for Metz, almost picked off by Gallagher.
That time Smith got him into trouble. Metz was very well covered by 2 defenders. He went to him anyway, instead of looking for a secondary receiver. As Don said, it almost intercepted by Hugh Gallagher.
It is now going to be 3rd and 3 for UBC. Chorney will punt from midfield. McCartney certainly respecting the kicking ability of Chorney as he had retreated deep in his own end zone. He took it about 3 yards inside the goal area and runs it out to the 8-yard line. A 45-yard kick and a 12-yard return. 1:40 is the time remaining in the third quarter. It's 6-3. Queens leading UBC. Let's pause for this message. Manisterski got about 3 yards. Again, the middle linebacker Kevin Konar was there along with Doug Biggerstaff. And Konar most times can be found somewhere in on a stop.
UBC's offense is so potentially dangerous that they can hit from anywhere, and we saw now that they have changed field position very drastically, and if the defense can hold here, we might see momentum swing their way as well.
And what appears to be a passing situation, Thompson has come in as a 6th defensive back, replacing Chin, but they stay on the ground, and Marinucci is stopped well short of a first down. Biggerstaff was the man who came over to make that tackle. So once again, Queens will be forced to kick it away, and UBC this time will have good field position. Actually, this is really the deepest that the Thunderbirds have backed up Queens in their own end of the field. 46 seconds and the clock is running in this third quarter. Queens in front by a 6-3 margin. Wardrop is standing in his end zone. Another excellent kick. Ford goes back to midfield. He brings it back to the 46-yard line of Queens. Andrew was there to make the tackle, a 44-yard punt and a 9-yard run back.
Both of these kickers have been enjoying good punting statistics during the course of the afternoon, and they've really been keeping the offensive teams backed up.
Smith had success on the last UBC series by going to the air. He's going to pass again. He finds Gleer on the far side of the field, a gain of 8 in that Atlantic Bowl game against St. Francis Xavier. Well, an enthusiastic group of cheerleaders on the far side of the field building those pyramids. They've been entertaining the crowd with these antics throughout the course of the game. Smith has completed 11 of 21 attempts for 133 yards. 2nd and 3 for UBC. The final play, it would seem, of the third quarter. Smith has got Penn. He can't hang on. And if he's got a weakness this afternoon, it's those little swing passes out of the backfield. I think that's about the 3rd one he's dropped, and he feels he should have caught it. That's the end of the third quarter. We'll be back with the final 15 minutes after this. Of the fourth quarter, the pass to Miller at the 28-yard line. Eric Ford and Konar making the tackle.
Super catch by Miller, and he really took the punishment when he caught the ball, but he pops right back up and gets back into that huddle. Really got the lumber laid to him that time.
First down for Queens. With that 15-yard pass, bootleg action, he's going to run it. Looking for the safety of the sidelines, he steps out of bounds, and there's also a penalty flag. I wouldn't be surprised if clipping is called against Queens.
I think that'll be against Rob Miller, the call, but I thought it was an awful good block because he waited till the UBC player had turned and started running after quarterback Rutka. The official says otherwise, however.
The referee for this College Bowl game is John Logan. They're taking it back, but it looked like an excellent block. On replay, take another look, and I think you will agree with us that we disagree with the officials.
Right. You see Miller coming in and hitting Bernie Crump here. He's definitely facing him. He goes down and takes his legs out from underneath him on a super block. But that's what the call is, clipping.
So that negates the run by quarterback Rutka and moves the ball back to the 14-yard line. It is now 1st and 25. Queens leading by a score of 6-3. Manisterski trying to go wide. He is stopped at the 18-yard line. Doug Biggerstaff and Kevin Chin. Gordon Campbell also in on that tackle. Chin will now come out of the ball game as Chris Thompson goes in on this 2nd down, and what appears, at least BC thinks so, to be a passing situation.
Wouldn't be too surprised if they come with that draw play again, Don. Rutka has not had great success today, although the first pass of this 4th quarter was successful for them. But they're deep in their own end.
Second down, Rutka. Going deep. Miller's gone. No, he couldn't hang on. Miller was in behind Thompson, and the ball was delivered perfectly by Rutka.
Thompson guessed a little wrong that time, started going for the interception and realized the ball was over his head. Miller, however, unable to come up with a big catch, and this has been a factor on both sides today, is some of the receivers unable to come up with that ball when it's been delivered. Rutka throwing back against the flow of the play, puts that ball right on the money. We see Thompson cut in front. That might have distracted him a little bit, but big play that went for nothing.
Wardrop at the 5-yard line for this 3rd down kick. Both punters have been effective. This is Hargreaves, and Hargreaves is stopped at the 49-yard line. He was driven back, but his forward progress would be in the vicinity of the 49-yard line. Paul Langevin was the man who pushed him back. Ernie, you saw Gord Penn have difficulty with that last throw by Smith, and he has now been replaced by Crump. And there's Davies grabbing the Smith toss down at the 34-yard line, stopped by Mullen. Only the 2nd time that Chris Davies has been on the receiving end, but that for a gain of 15.
Big play there, big catch. Smith delivered that ball under a lot of pressure. Going back to the play before, Penn has simply lost confidence in catching the football. He's been replaced in there. You see Davies getting this pass downfield. Good concentration on it.
Back to the live action, the 1st down from the 34. Smith's in trouble. The 2nd quarterback sack for the Queens Golden Gales. This one by Dick Backer, who won the Metris Trophy in 1977 as Lineman of the Year.
We see him here storming in on top of Smith. Linebacker Bruce Mousen also in on that play as they were blitzing. Seems whenever they do blitz, they certainly get good pressure on the quarterback.
2nd and 25, a loss of 15. Smith in trouble again. He's going to try and run it. He gets to the 45. tackle, but there was pressure coming from both sides, from Bakker and Muller.
Smith once again going back, and he hasn't been getting the kind of time that he had earlier in the third quarter, trying to make the most of it by running it upfield. But Andrews was there to bring him to a halt.
10:24, the time left in the football game. The third down punt by Chorney. D'Andrea takes it at the 10, no further, maybe to the 11. So as Queens kept UBC pinned back in its own zone most of the third quarter, UBC has reversed the situation in the fourth quarter. We'll be back after this message. Rutka going deep. It could be picked off. No, it's knocked away by Miller. It was intended for Best. Larose was also in the vicinity of that throw. Best really had very little chance.
Actually, Best does a good job here of making sure that it isn't intercepted. Rutka continually going for the deep pass, well defensed. And with Best's efforts, that ball goes incomplete.
Second down. The ball is at the 12-yard line. 9:41, the time left in this ball game. The draw play, it's not going to work. So BC should get pretty good field position once again. Konar in on the tackle for the Thunderbirds.
This is the time in the ball game when the conditioning of these ball players really comes to be a factor. Notice both teams coming on and off the field a little more slowly now. It's been a long season for them, and with only 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the year, they've got to really suck it up.
Wardrop standing back inside his goal area. An excellent kick once again. And Larose is to the 47. A 46-yard kick and a return of 10 yards. You know, Doug Hargreaves, the coach, was telling us about Wardrop's punting and saying that early in the year he had difficulty hitting the ball more than 30 yards, but he worked on it during the summer, and he has certainly been a factor in this ball game today with his kicking. BC. This is Penn. He's not going to go anywhere. He's dropped for a loss by Jim Muller. Muller did not receive all-star recognition. His coach felt he should have, and that play indicates that perhaps the coach was right. Ernie?
Don, we'd just like to remind everyone about Grey Cup Day, a week from Sunday, and CBC Television goes on the air early, 11 o'clock Eastern. We'll be right through the whole day, through the football game, and it'll be an enjoyable day. Who will be there, of course, will not be decided until after this weekend.
There's that swing pass to Penn, and Penn has a gain of about 6, but on the first play from scrimmage, they lost 3, so BC will be forced into a kicking situation again. And Ernie, you talked about all the excitement of Grey Cup Day, all the activities prior to the game itself. Should we tell the viewers that you're going to do a little disco dancing?
Well, you can if you want, but I'm not admitting to it.
Ernie Travolta Afaganis. The kick by Chorney. He was knocked down by Muller coming in, but there is no penalty flag. Taken out of bounds is McCartney on the far side of the field. They'll mark it, I think, at the 14-yard line. 7:44 is the time left. Queens leading by a score of 6-3. None of the experts predicted during the week that it would be a low-scoring defensive struggle such as we witnessed so far through the first 3 quarters and a half.
I don't know whether he's trying to wave there, Don, or not.
One of the injured players at the UBC bench. O'Doherty is caught immediately by Miller. The reception is made at the 16-yard line, a gain of just a couple of yards. Good reaction by four-year veteran Craig Miller.
So far, BC's defense has risen to the occasion and has held Queens down in here. And on that BC bench, they've got to be getting some offense that'll put some points on the board for them.
Well, UBC needs a big defensive play right here. There's the play with Manisterski, and that's his best run of the afternoon, out to the 36-yard line. And that's the way you move it out of trouble. Ford made the tackle. That was a 19-yard run.
Take another look at it from ground level. Manisterski just waited for quarterback Rutka to bring the ball back to him, and the hole opened up. He simply ran out of the arms of middle linebacker Konar, took that ball on up the field.
Rutka faked the throw. He's going to carry it himself. He's got a first down. Well, just when it appeared as though UBC had Queens pinned deep in its own zone, two big runs, first by Manisterski and then by that man. Quarterback Jim Rutka moved Queens out of trouble.
And he did have a receiver open, but he got a little bit of pressure and tucked it away, and there was wide open countryside for him to run into.
A dozen yards for Rutka. He hasn't done too badly as a ball carrier this afternoon. The big man, of course, has been Manisterski. He's got 93 yards. Here they use that slot back reverse type of play again. O'Doherty, however, is caught after a gain of 3 yards by Beecroft. 5:53 is the time left. And the Queens Golden Gales keep on moving that ball further away from their own goalpost, and at the same time using up valuable seconds on that clock. 5:35 and time running out on the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds, who trail by a field goal. The penalty flag is down. Rutka's pass was intended for O'Doherty on the sidelines, covered there by Beecroft. The penalty, I think, is going to go against UBC rough play against Doug Biggerstaff. That appears to be the initial indication.
I think perhaps the penalty was involved with some of the hand fighting in that offensive and defensive line as they were coming in, and I think the official detected a fist being thrown. That's what they're marching off, a rough play penalty against UBC.
Well, Doug Woodward just a little downcast at that UBC bench. His defensive unit had done such a good job earlier in this fourth quarter of keeping the Golden Gales deep in their own zone, but they now have moved out and are at the 43 of UBC. The pitch to Manisterski. Manisterski is stopped at the 40-yard line. Mark Wald came over to make the tackle. He had help from Kevin Konar.
As long as they can keep this ball on the ground and not give up any fumbles, things are starting to look bleak for UBC Thunderbirds.
Well, this drive for the Queens Golden Gales started back on their own 13-yard line. They are now at the 40. 2nd and 7, 4:28 the time left. Rutka over the middle. It's incomplete. It was intended for Shugart. He was hit, and the ball picked up by Miller. Eric Ford was the man who really punished the tight end just at the same instant as the ball arrived.
Here we see it again. Rutka staying with that passing attack of his in 2nd and long yardage. Finds him over the middle just as the ball gets there. So does Eric Ford. The ball goes loose.
Wardrop is standing at the 53 for this 3rd down kick. Again, another good kick. Hirose takes it in the end zone. Hirose fumbles the ball
decent run back, but that ball gets knocked loose, and they're all yellow jerseys on top of that football.
I think it was Langevin who pounced on that loose ball at the 4-yard line, and with 3:50 remaining, Queens bench is excited. They're up. Larose, who had made 2 key interceptions earlier, fumbling that ball, giving Queens a chance now to perhaps put it away. Marinucci has the touchdown. Dave Marinucci, who has not carried that often today in contrast to his running mate Manastursky, going in for the major score.
Nothing too fancy about it with momentum on their side. That offensive line drives everybody off. Marinucci simply leans behind that big convoy out in front of him. Falls over the goal line.
The point after attempt by Blaine Shore. Queens in front, 12-3. Now 13-3 in favor of Queens, the Atlantic Bowl champions, leading the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds. And we'll be back with the Queens kickoff right after this.
I'll get back.
I know you're disappointed in the game, the way things have been going. But there's still a chance. You feel that the ball club has it? There's 3 minutes left.
We've been down before, you know. We got some really tough guys. I think we can come back and win this ball game.
Got to start it going now, though, don't they?
Yeah, we got a ways to go, but we're going to do it.
I'm sorry about the injury. I hope it works out okay for you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Dale.
It's a first down at the 23-yard line for UBC, and Dan Smith pitches it out to Negrin, and Negrin is dropped for a loss. Well, Smith will have to put the ball in the air with only 3:06 remaining. They have to strike and strike quickly. And that Queens team has been very, very tough defensively.
I think that's been the secret of this game so far, is the overall strength and domination that Queens defense has had throughout the course of this game. They have shut down a very, very strong offensive unit from UBC and held them to 3 points in almost an entire ball game, and that is very difficult to do.
Over the middle to Davies. It's picked off. Gallagher has the ball. It was deflected a couple of times. Gallagher dropped finally at the 25-yard line, and that could be the ball game right there. We understand that the Outstanding Player of the Game award will go to Ed Andrew of the Queens Golden Gales, their middle linebacker.
We've been doing a lot of talking about the middle linebacker on the other side of the field. Here's the replay. That ball simply tipped up in the air before it got to Chris Davies. Gallagher, playing that deep middle, walks over and picks it up.
There he is, number 51, Ed Andrew, who will be the recipient of the Ted Morris Trophy as the Outstanding Player of the Game. I'm sure there was some argument in favor of this man, Tony Manastursky, as he has run very, very well. He should, if Queens elects to stay on the ground over these final couple of minutes, pick up 100 yards. Queens in control, 13-3. They have a 2nd and 11 situation at the 26. This time it's Marinucci who scored the game's only touchdown, running outside and running the ball for a gain of about 7 or 8. Forced out by Marshall McLeod on the far side of the field with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to play.
Marinucci has certainly shown his strength as a running back. He tries to go inside. It's shut off. Watch the straight arm here. He knocks Jack Hargreaves right down with it. Lowers his shoulder, breaks another tackle. Finally, it's McLeod that forces him out of bounds, but determined running by that Queens Golden Gale running back.
Shore comes into the ball game. Field goal attempt. He has tried 3 and been successful on 2 of them so far. Kick is good. And it's 16-3 with now 2:06 left to play. Well, the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds need a couple of touchdowns. They unfortunately don't have very much time in which to do it.
We talked about a sedate crowd in the first half. If this game finishes up the way it's standing right now, Toronto had better look out.
Well over 5,000 spectators made the trip from Kingston. On the draw play, this is Penn, and Penn has 3 yards. 2:01 the time left. In the stands, the excited Queens supporters relishing this 16-3 advantage that the Golden Gales enjoy over the Thunderbirds. Smith throwing. Chris Davies is stopped at the 53-yard line by Jim D'Andrea. It's a first down for UBC. 1:46 is the time left. Swing pass to Penn coming out of the backfield looking for the sidelines. He's got a first down. He was then bowled over by Hugh Gallagher.
Also got a good block out there as he was heading for that sidelines by Gary Metz. Enabled him to get the first down and also get out of bounds to stop the clock.
1:35 the time left. UBC at the 47 of Queens. Swing pass again to Penn. He slips as he tried to make the cut in front of the defensive player, Andrew, who had moved up, restricting the gain to just 1 yard.
We talked a lot about middle linebacker Kevin Konar during this game, but we haven't said a great deal about Ed Andrews, the 5'11", 200-pound third-year student from Queens, who is the recipient of the most valuable player of this game. He has just been a steady ball player all the way through this ball game.
16 for 29, the passing statistic for quarterback Dan Smith. At the bench, Doug Hargreaves, I'm sure, enjoying the way this game has gone. In 1968, Queens won the Vanier Cup, winning the College Bowl on that occasion with a 42-14 triumph over Waterloo Lutheran. And it seems they are destined to engrave their names on the Vanier Trophy for the second time this afternoon. 1:34 the time remaining. On second down, Smith being chased out of there by Muller. He throws incomplete, intended for Metz. D'Andrea was there covering. Many of the spectators have already left the seating area and are standing on the edge of the playing field, and thus could be quite a mob scene down below once this game is completed. Frank Tyndall, who formerly coached Queens and the man who has directed the attack this year, and he has reason to smile. Some of the folks out in Moose Jaw may recall that Doug Hargreaves spent 5 years there as an Air Force flying instructor at the Moose Jaw base.
You had to get that in, didn't you, Don?
Had to mention that. I wonder if Ernie and Jenny are prepared to head for safety the moment that final gun sounds. Down in those sidelines, you can see how they're gathered, ready to charge onto the field. Tomorrow, the Montreal Alouettes take on the Ottawa Rough Riders at Lansdowne Park. Don Chevrier, Tom McKee, Russ Jackson, and I will be there for that one. Well, with the mob on the sidelines, on the far side of the field, the officials have moved the yardsticks over to the near side. It will be 3rd down for Queens. Or UBC, I should say. Let me correct that. 3rd and 9. Smith throwing incomplete. Tishka was defending against Chris Davies over on the far side of the field, and with now 1:21 remaining, that should pretty well seal the fate of the University of British Columbia Thunderbirds. Safety Ted Tishka, an all-star in his own conference, defending on Chris Davies, an all-Canadian selection on that last play. This, the 1978 College Championship. And Bob Larose, Ernie Afaganis, and I will be on hand on the 6th of January for the Can-Am Bowl in Tampa, Florida. But that's what it's all about this afternoon. The Vanier Cup going to the winning team, and today it appears to be headed for Kingston for the next year. 1:17 the time left. Jack Hirose in there to make the tackle. McCartney, who did such a great job in the punt return department early in the contest, in there in a running back position now for Queens. For the last 2 years, the University of Western Ontario, the college champions. Rutka attempted to move up over that ball. The official blew the whistle indicating they took just too long in putting it into play. They lose the down. It will now be 3rd and about 5. I guess you were doing a little cheering for the past couple of years when your old school won it, Bob.
Certainly was. These two teams out here in the field this afternoon, though, have certainly accredited themselves. Very well coached, well-mannered ball teams. Very few penalties except for that 1 point in the first half.
Hirose at the 20-yard line and no further than the 25. Well, they always say that statistics are for losers, and in this case, the terms of total offense indicate that UBC should be ahead. They have 279 yards compared to 223 for Queens, but in the important department, Queens is in front 16-3 on the scoreboard. Turnovers have hurt UBC in this afternoon's ball game. There is no doubt about that. To make the presentation, out there to receive it, Randy Edgeworth, number 59, along with Jim Dandria, number 26. And there it is, the Vanier Cup, going to Queens for the 2nd time in the 14-year history of this event. They won it previously in 1968. You know, you talk about trophies, some people may forget that Queens, way back in 22, 23, and 24, also inscribed its name on the Grey Cup, a trophy they'll be playing for here in Toronto at CNE Stadium a week from tomorrow. The Vanier Trophy being held high down at field level by Edgeworth and Dandria of the Queen's University Golden Gales. A tight ball game. It was 6-3 midway through that 4th quarter. And then Queens was able to put together a good drive, and with the help of a penalty, marched it 97 yards. A fumble down on the 3-yard line, recovered by Queens, enabled them to go in for the touchdown by Marinucci.
Well, just looking at these guys down there with their trophy, I don't know if they're ever going to be able to get to the dressing room to fill it with the bubbly that traditionally goes in it. It's one thing that all the college guys seem to like about the Vanier Cup is that it's a nice big one and we'll hold lots of that stuff in it.
And And there's the man who has been chosen the outstanding player of the ball game, middle linebacker Ed Andrew, and he has received the Ted Morris Trophy. Andrew is a third-year science student from Willowdale, Ontario, 5'11", 200 pounds, and he was the anchor to that defensive unit that proved very, very tough, not only this afternoon, but throughout the entire collegiate season for the Queens Golden Gales, undefeated, winning 10 consecutive games in winning the college championship.
Defensive tackle Ross Francis, who just had a super game. We were just discussing a few moments ago that the Gales didn't give away anything to a tough UBC team. You guys were really strong defensively.
We've been preparing all week for it, and I think mainly it's John Thompson, our defensive force unit coach. He's been like, I don't know, he's just the greatest guy. When it comes to preparing us for a game, he's got everything for us down before the game starts. He tells us this is what they're going to come at you with, this is how we stop it, and all season that's how we've done it.
You know, was there anything at halftime where you're talking about, you know, where you're saying, you say, hey, we're going along pretty good now, we seem to have some control here?
Right at halftime, just prior to halftime, John Thompson, our coach, said that he thought we were losing our intensity on the field. So he came in, he tried to get us going more, get our morale up, and we were having some problems containing their sweep, which we shut off their inside game, which was supposed to be their strongest part, and they started sweeping on us. So we were discussing how to stop the sweep mostly at halftime.
And Ross, you're kind of a big fella. You're talking about, you know, being a pro football player and the end of it all?
I'd like to have the chance, go and try it.
To turn it down.
Right.
Congratulations, just a super game for you, and congratulations on making the victory, because it wasn't expected by quite a few people.
Okay. Thanks very much, Ernie.
Thanks very much, Ross. Dave Marinucci, come on in here. Here's a running back. Oh, you got
Hello, Sault Ste. Marie!
I was wondering when somebody was going to yell a little bit. Dave, you had a super game. And
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you've been going good all year. And now, actually, you're a little smaller than I thought you'd be. You look like a much more bruising type of running back.
Well, I don't have to be big because we got the best offensive line in the country. They're great.
And they worked well today, didn't they?
They sure did. They're a super team.
Did BC do things that maybe you weren't expecting? Because no one seemed to explode or was able to explode.
That middle backer was a lot quicker than we expected. Yeah. He's a good ball player. They're a good team. They're a physical team.
Physical team. Congratulations. Super game for you.
Thank you very much.
You want to say hello to Sault Ste. Marie again?
Yeah. Hey, Heather!
Heather. Oh, Heather. Is that Andrew around there somewhere? We'd like to get him in here because he is the fella who won the, the most valuable player award. He's just they're yelling at him. He may be in the shower by now. Where is Eddie? He wears the familiar number 51, the linebacker. Here he is, bringing it in. All right. Congratulations. This Eddie the Bear. Is that
yeah, okay. That's what they're calling.
Let's see that trophy.
Yeah, there it is there.
Great. That's great.
Oh, yeah, right.
You must feel great about this.
Oh, it feels fantastic. It feels great to win. That means much more than this, to win the thing.
I'm sure it does. And when they don't expect you to win, I suppose that you feel even better about it, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we were underdogs all year long, and we knew all along we were the best, and we just had to go and prove it.
Do you think there's a possibility that maybe the rest of the country underrated you a little bit?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think they did. Nobody sort of pays attention to our league, really, and, you know, we showed them today, I think.
Gotta have to now, though, don't they?
I think so. I think we're better.
You're all red up there. Somebody hit you in the face?
No, I just sort of a little embarrassed. Everybody's coming up and congratulating me at it. First time in my life.
You deserve the big. You just had a super game. Congratulations. Anyone you want to say hello to?
I'll say hello to everybody everywhere that made this possible.
I thought maybe you knew Sue, too, as Ross did.
To Ross? No.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, thanhanks very much.
Congratulations. We're looking for Jack Hargreaves.
Thanks to my defensive line and the deep backs, everybody. My coach, John Thompson. That's the guy who made everything, John Thompson.
Okay, thank you. Where's Doug Hargreaves? Is he around here somewhere? He's back in there. I know he's stashed in the back, and we're at one side of the dressing room, and we're having a little difficulty pulling some people in. All right, but we will in just a moment. Dick Backer, come on in, Dick. Dick Backer, I should say, big, tough lineman. Boy, I'm really impressed by what your team did today because we didn't expect that you'd be so tough physically. But has the team been that physical all year?
All year. We have been all year. Everybody's worked very, very well as a cohesive unit. Not one individual or one group, but line and linebackers together, backs and deep backs together. Everybody's played well together the whole year.
Did you expect from UBC to be pushed around a little bit, to be shoved here and there?
we didn't expect them to come on that strong in the first half. We were kind of surprised that it took us that long to get them going.
Right.
Like all year long, we've been more or less looked down upon by the rest of the conference, and I'm glad that this game has more or less proved it to the whole country that Queens in the Eastern Ontario Division is as good as any other division.
No question about that. And you played in the Can-Am Bowl last year.
Yes, I did.
So it's going to be like a return visit for you, hopefully. And we're going to carry that game on CBC. You got some good experience there. I understand there's a feeling among the Canadian players now that there's a possibility you can win that game.
Definitely, yeah. I think this year's team seems to be very good and much better than last year. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that. I haven't seen them play, but bigger and stronger. At least they look that. And, well, one thing that I'm disappointed with, and the rest of the team is disappointed about, is that there aren't more people from Queens on the All-Canadian team, and more people from Queens going down. I don't know if the other guys have said this earlier.
Yes, it was
the whole
mentioned,
team is very disappointed in that, and we went into this game more or less.
You think that helped?
Wanting to put it to the C.I.A.U. and the media. Sorry, but we wanted to do that.
No, but I understand that it sort of helped fire you up a little bit.
Oh, it definitely did. Definitely did.
Who cranked you on that forehead?
That was about 4 games ago. just a cut.
Thanks very much, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Where's Coach Hargreaves? Say, you must really feel good about now. I saw you with a white coat and a black hat. Now you're relaxed and enjoying things. As the underdog team, is it a better way to go into a game, Coach?
Oh, yes. I think if I could have written the script for this game, I couldn't have written it any better than in terms of the way the scene was set. And it worked out really well for us.
BC, I know, was picked by many because of their league and their competition there. And it always seems that your league is downgraded a little bit because they don't feel there's the competition there. And yet Queens is always a difficult team.
Which question do you want me to answer first?
I'm going to say that, how do you feel about it all? Because you're saying to yourself, why do we sort of be second graded all the time?
Well, I think the most pleasing thing to me, Ernie, number one, has to be the win for the athletes, because as I told them before the game, it's not very often in life that you get an opportunity to prove that you're not number 2. And secondly, the most important thing after that to me is the fact that we were representing our division, and that division is no longer the weakest division in Canada.